Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Nikhil Kumar. In this video, we are diving into error handling in Ansible, a crucial skill for ensuring your automation scripts are reliable and resilient. Today, I will walk you through real-world error handling techniques from basic to advanced strategies to help you handle error gracefully in your playbooks. If you ever had an Ansible task failing unexpectedly, stick around. We will cover solutions like using ignore errors, failed when, blocks, and retries. Before diving into demos, let's take a quick look at why error handling is essential in automation workflow. In this workflow, we have an Ansible controller node managing two different managed nodes. One is Ubuntu based, another is RHEL based. If an error occurs on the Ubuntu node and isn't properly handled, it could stop the entire playbook execution, including the task intended for the RHEL node. Effective error handling ensures that even if something goes wrong on the node 1, it doesn't halt the entire process unless necessary. This resilience is crucial for keeping automation workflow smooth and efficient, especially when managing multiple nodes. Let's start with ignore errors. This directive allows the playbook to continue if the task fails, but use it carefully, as ignoring errors can sometimes hide bigger issues. So this is my controller node, and I have one managed node on which is a RHEL machine. So let's create a playbook on that to demonstrate the ignore error directive. Ignore error.yml. This is my playbook. Inside this, I'm going to define one play name ignore errors in task demo. Host, I'm going to run it on the RHEL node. Gather facts, no, because we don't want to waste our time to gather the facts of that particular machine because we are not using the Ansible facts in this particular task. I'm going to define one task which will be creating a file on non-existent directory. So that particular directory does not exist, so this particular task should fail. I'm going to use a module, file module. I'm going to create a file under the directory which does not exist. Ideally, this task should fail. I'm going to give a path which does not exist, and inside that I'm just going to create one file, and state is touch. So it should create a empty file, and I'm using a directive called ignore errors is equal to yes. By default it's no, but here I am explicitly putting as yes, so it should ignore the error if this task fails, and this will move to the another task, that is to print message, and I'm using the debug module for printing a message, and I'm giving a message continue in playbook execution after an error in previous task. Playbook is ready. Let's trigger this playbook. Ansible-playbook ignore error playbook. Oh, there is a syntax error at line number 11. Oh, I mistyped that. Module name is debug. If you see, this particular task got failed, but it still moved to the another task. But if you notice, it's ignoring the task. Why? Because we have used the directive ignore errors over there. And because of that, it moved to the other task by ignoring the failure task. Next, we are going to use failed_when directive. It is useful when you want to control a task success based on a specific condition, like checking for a specific output or a file. For that, I am going to create one playbook, failed when.yml. I'm creating a task which will be intentionally getting failed. So it will be like getting failed on the basis of the condition. So I'm going to define a task that is running on RHEL node. Gather facts is equal to no, and task, and giving a name, run a shell command and fail if output does not contain success. I'm using a shell module here. Command I'm going to use like echo failure. giving into double quotes, and I'm going to register this particular output into cmd underscore output. Here I'm using a directive failed underscore when and putting a condition success not in cmd output dot std output. If success is not available in the command underscore output dot std output, it will fail this particular task. And I'm going to define another task. I'm just giving without fqcn just to do it very quickly. Command ran successfully. Let's run this playbook. If you see, this particular task got failed because we have checking the condition and that condition does not met and it failed that particular task. Let's update that particular condition or that particular module, and instead of failure I'm just putting success over there. So at that particular stage it will pass that particular task. If you notice, this particular command or playbook worked fine because the condition got met. Now let's talk about block. It let you group tasks and apply error handling across them. If any task in a block fail, you can specify a rescue section to handle it, like cleaning up resources or retrying an operation. It's just similar to the try and accept in your Python programming. Over there we are using a try and the accept block to do the exception handling. So similarly here we can use a block and rescue to do the exception handling. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one playbook, block rescue.yml, and here I'm going to define a 3 task, and it will be running on the RHEL machine, and I'm giving task, and below that we need to define the block, and inside the block we need to define our task which will be part of that particular block. I'm giving a task name create directory ansible.builtin.file and giving a path where www/html/host and state is directory. I'm giving a random path here and name copy of file. Let me give proper gaps, and here I'm just using a copy module, copy, and here I'm just giving a source, that is where www/html host/test.example.com, and here I'm giving a destination, that is test.example.com, and then I am going to define a rescue. It's just work like I expect, and inside that I am going to define a task, that is clean up if failed, and ansible.builtin.file path where I'm just copy pasting the path and state absent, and here I'm going to use a ignore errors because it's just removing the file. If ignore errors equal to yes, and that's it. Let's trigger this playbook. If you notice, this particular task failed and it started and triggered the cleanup task because it's part of a rescue. This will be a very useful by grouping a task in a block. We can apply error handling to all of them at once. If you notice, in this case, if the copy module fails, the rescue section ensures cleaning up by removing the directory. The block keyword or the directive is very useful when you need to trigger a task on a basis of a specific condition. Like if you have a 5 or 6 tasks and you need to run that particular task on the basis of one condition. So you can give a condition to that particular block, and that particular block of tasks will be run on that particular condition when that particular condition got met. Next, move on to our another directive, that is retries. Sometimes tasks fail due to temporary issues such as network timeouts. With the retry feature, we can try a task multiple times before moving on. Let's create a playbook, retries.yml. Inside that, I am going to create a task which will be checking existence of that particular file. Localhost gather facts no task, and giving a name to the task, check file existence, and I'm using a module ansible.builtin.stat and giving a path here, random path I'm giving here, which that particular file does not exist, txt. I'm using a register to store the output, file check, and I'm using a retries keyword, that is 5 times, and delay of 5 seconds after every retry until this condition matches. File check .stat .exist, and that's all. So this particular task will try to check the existence of that particular file for the 5 times, and after the delay of every 5 seconds. It's perfect for handling temporary network failures or some existence of the file or the services. Let's trigger this particular playbook now. So I have a playbook, retries, and if you see, it's trying to check for that particular file existence, and it will be checking after every 5 seconds, and it will try up to 5 times. And after that, it will fail this particular task because that particular file does not exist. And if I create that particular file very quickly, let's create that particular file, and it will pass that particular task at one go. I'm just getting an empty file, and let's trigger the same playbook again. And if you notice, it got passed in one go. Finally, if you need even more control, custom filters or plugins offer powerful way to add specific check or recovery actions. I have already covered this in a full video on custom plugins, which you can use to handle error effectively. Check the link in the description to learn more. To quickly recap, mastering error handling helps make your playbook resilient and prevents unexpected failure. We covered basic directives like ignore errors, failed when, block, and retries. Try these strategies in your next playbook to confidently handle errors. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my blog for more in-depth tutorials. Thank you. Have a nice day.